Hello, my name is Lynsey Jones, and I'm the Transition Director for the Americas Apparel Producers Network. We're an industry network of about 200 member companies, including brands all the way down the supply chain, including 30 links within. We represent about 12 countries in the western side of the hemisphere, looking at how to grow business. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to Bob McKee from Fortude about how to actually drive or solve some of those business challenges that we've been seeing.
Thanks, Lynsey. Fortude is an organization that is engaged in the technology side of business. I've often said there's the fashion of fashion and there's the business of fashion. And we represent certainly the business side of fashion. Our organization is all about enabling our customers to do what they do better, faster, cheaper, keep track of what's going on, keep track of their business. It all comes down to data. Information is king, data is king. We're only as good as what we know. And we only know what we keep track of. And that is what it's all about. That's business. Fashion, whether you're talking about color trends or you're talking about sizing trends, it all still comes down to the analysis of data.
So I've been looking at and speaking with a lot of my membership from the AAPN. One of the issues that they constantly talk about is the ability to balance their supply chains within the East and the West in order to drive speed or in order to drive cost and to look at various areas, right? Mm-hmm. They're also talking about sustainability and the fact of sustainable materials or sustainable business processes or measuring their resource utilization or even thinking about the fact of what their new manufacturing processes could be. I challenge that people are not necessarily looking at it all holistically and from the start of development to the end of the product life cycle. How does technology enable people to be able to do this better?
Well, again, it's a combination of people and how they use technology. Technology is a tool. It's an enabler. When it comes to how do we do things better, realistically, and I know you know this as well, you've witnessed it as well, you can't create a sustainable product if you aren't thinking about sustainability from the very onset, from the concept of an item that you want to produce. It has to go clear back to even conceptual design. When you start to think, this is something I think the market needs or is going to have a good appeal for the consumer, you have to start thinking about what do I need to make this from? Where do I need to make it? Where are the components going to be able to come from? So it's that blend of how the industry works, maybe working a little more in concert and a little less siloed. No more walls, no more barriers, no more disconnected processes. Mm-hmm. Where an organization, where the conceptual designer comes up with it and begins to work with the sourcing agent from the beginning. How can we do this best? Where is this going to come from the most likely? Where is you can make anything in a sustainable manner, but then it's going to have such a cost that you'll never be able to sell it. So how do we do this for the price we need it to be and do it in a manner that won't be harmful to people, planet, etc.? Getting systems in place and connecting your systems so that you are on a truly digital platform where you're not reliant on somebody who's still going to have to hand you a piece of paper. Mm. How many organizations do we both know that still operate 50% on paper?
Right.
How many still take paper orders and then send them through an optical, an OCR reader, but there's still that paper in there. Why did it have to go from digital to non-digital? We have to figure out how to close the loop, and digital transformation is all about that. It's all about getting you to a point where your flow of information is all digital in its format.
So Bob, let's talk about the role of investment in various organizations. Why is the fashion industry fearful of making those investments?
I think that one of the difficulties in getting investment from the C-suite is often they struggle to make the decisions between spending. Should I invest here? Should I invest there? The tangible benefit of new technology isn't often seen or felt as quickly as, well, when you're talking about data systems, just information systems, they don't see or feel that as quickly as a technology that's a new buttonhole machine that gets you twice as much production with half the price. Those things are quick and easy to invest in. That's where most of the investment ends up going. I was in a factory in Korea, probably 30 years ago, maybe more. I believe it was owned by either Samsung or Daewoo, and it had one person who turned on the switch in the morning and one person who turned off the switch at night. It was 100% automated, and it was really a laboratory where they were trying to figure out ways in which they could manufacture or automate the manufacturing of apparel. And they were doing quite well. And now a lot of people don't realize that big companies that we know today for things like refrigerators and mobile phones actually started out in the fashion industry, but it is a reality. And much of them, many of them were in Korea.
We know that there's a lot of it. We know many groups collect it. Some is good, some is bad.
The fashion industry is nothing without data. We've always been data tied. How much did you sell? Which is selling? Which isn't? What color is selling? What sizes are selling? Which way are the sizes skewing? Are they getting bigger? Are they getting smaller? Are they getting more trim? Are they getting more? First things first in the fashion industry, don't be afraid of the investment in software. And if you buy one and it does what you need it to for a period of time, great, but keep looking for ways for it to be part of what you're doing rather than a separate element. Best of breed configurations in software are fairly common in the fashion industry. Well, your software didn't do this, but we found this other guy that does that, and we can go ahead and we can write integration points. I guess from a certain point, I would have to say to software makers, make your software as open as you can, so that in fact that you can easily interact or interoperate with other solutions or other components that do things you don't.
Do you think that's part of the change management within the fashion industry, as well as the digital transformation that needs to occur within each organization?
I think change management has to begin at the top. Change management has a lot of elements to it, from changing the top of the pyramid to changing the bottom of the pyramid. The people who are interoperating with the system and even the people who are the pickers and the packers of the product are going to interoperate differently. So there's change management that's going to have to occur in every one of those places. The biggest pain in change management is going to be at the top of the pyramid. It could be the CEO, it could be the board, where they have to recognize that something needs to change. That change is a good part of corporate life. Yes, it does often carry costs, but those costs really should be viewed as investments. And return on investment is one of those things that maybe the calculations have to be a little more understanding of the ultimate goal of sustainability or creating a sustainable environment, both internally and externally.
So if I'm a CEO,
Yep.
and I've decided that I am going to go after sustainability,
Yep.
and I'm looking at the investments that are needed within my entire organization, not just the supply chain, where should I start thinking about?
I think you have to start at the data world, because if you can't, you also thrown in there, how do you pick up metrics that make it work? You can't track what you don't monitor.
Right. And you can't improve what you don't track.
Exactly. So the data side of it has to get better. And more organizations have to embrace investments in data.
Let's talk about strategic planning, right? So in the fashion industry, there's a lot of conversations about how to implement sustainability within your strategic planning. We've talked about it. Do you put it into your financial goals? Do you put it into your development goals? How do you metric it? How do you write about it? How do you talk about it? What are you seeing today that would be important into strategic planning for sustainability?
First things first, you have to define what you mean when you say sustainability, because there are an awful lot of elements that should go into that. And what always happens in our industry is that people will decide to cherry pick just what sustainability means, and they'll go ahead trying to accomplish that element and forget all the rest of it, which isn't really the goal or the mission.
Right.
The small steps, of course, are helpful, but that small step has to be done the right way in concert with the other steps that are going on to create a sustainable corporate environment.
Do you think that the technology tools or processes enabled them to build better planning processes to drive sustainability?
Well, again, I think that sustainability is going to drive the planning process rather than planning drive the sustainability. I think that it is having to be committed to creating a sustainable product, future, corporate entity, whatever it is that you're considering for sustainability. What is your goal? What is your mission? What are you going to make sustainable? All those different things are going to mean something different when it comes to defining sustainability. If we're talking about impact on the environment, the physical environment, that's one thing. Impact on the corporate environment, that's something else again. The financial environment, that's something else again. All those things are forms of sustainability. Somehow we have to figure out how to make them all sing together.
Last question, if we're going to talk about looking at data and digital transformation in the fashion industry, what would be your parting thoughts on them?
Wow. Don't think twice. Do it as quickly as you can. The bigger the data, the better. Digital transformation is not just about data. It's about getting the components and systems in place so that you can work in a truly digital manner, so that your objective is that everything is on a digital platform and accessible, broadly accessible to those who need that.
Bob, I just wanted to say thank you so much for talking to me about the business of fashion today, along with technology and sustainability. I think it was very educational, and I really learned a lot from some of your thoughts that you've had over your industry experience. So I want to say thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Lynsey, it's been fun. I really enjoyed this.
For sure. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.